morning and afternoon, everybody. Whoa, we'll turn that down. Boom, look at all the graphics on the screen. Good morning and afternoon, everybody. We're going to turn that off. Whoa, we'll turn that down. Boom, look at all the graphics on the screen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I'm going to turn that off. There we go. That's better. Okay, we're just getting started here. We should be out. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck? Okay, that's good. I don't know, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck? Woodchuck could chuck wood. Can they chuck wood? I don't know. Maybe they can. We'll find out one day. They need like tools, or these are teeth. One of the two. We're gonna turn the music down a little bit before we get started here. So, if you're just tuning into the channel, we are about to do a Q&A with Tesla in their careers. They have a career section coming out. They have a session that's about to start, as you see here. Live event, Tesla virtual information session. So we're gonna go and tune into that, and we're gonna ask some questions. We're gonna take your questions and we're gonna relay them to Tesla hiring department, their HR department, who's gonna stream with us and with probably many thousands of people all over the world. Probably just in English. So if you don't speak English, I'm not sure if they're going to have any translations or anything like that. But since I will be recording this on my channel, you can probably take the transcripts and translate them. So we're going to do a few things first here, though. First of all, we're going to turn down the music. It's a little loud in my ears. All right. Okay. So first things first, we're going to talk a little bit about working at Tesla. And time is, it's going to go start at 12 Eastern Standard Time. So it starts at 12 Eastern Standard Time. The Q&A session. If you ever want to work at Tesla, this is the Tesla service department. This is not like working, as Elon Musk's, personal assistant or anything like that. This is service department, which is really critical, especially nowadays with Tesla. They need to have a proper service department. They need to make sure that they're bringing in the right people to do it. So it's a transition into the electric car market, and service is going to be there, just like every other car company out there. They have to have a adequate and top shelf service department. Every dealership has one. So why shouldn't Tesla be constantly looking for top talent in their service department? This kind of makes sense, right? So we're going to do a little bit of, we're going to have a chat with Tesla, their HR department. Well, not their department, their info session they're putting on. Okay, it's shared in Microsoft Teams, part of the Microsoft Teams here. Now, we are no way affiliated with Tesla, so I don't want anybody to think that we are, you can, contact us through Zuka Industries for Tesla. We only support their mission and their goal as a car company, and we support their future place in the economy. They're going to be, right now, they're quickly becoming the biggest car company in the world by market value, not by volume, that's for sure. They do about 500,000 cars a year, which is like a fraction of the market. But they're going to be a bigger player as we move forward in the world economies, and we're going to continue to see them grow and grow and grow. Yeah, there's some growing issues with Tesla. They're a new car company, and if you, we're going to go watch we're going to go review one of Elon Musk's mission statements from 2016, when he is the one who will tell you how difficult it is to start a car company. So part of this is Tesla. It's called Mission Statement Part 2. Part 2. This is their thing. Master Plan Part 2. This is Tesla's big thing here. This is Elon Musk's things here. So you'll see here that he's the first one to tell you right here, the first master plan that I wrote 10 years ago. This is 2016. Okay, this is 2016 that he wrote this master plan part did. First master plan, link here, right, 10 years ago. So in 2006 or so, I wrote 10 years ago is now in the final stages of completion. Now it's 2016. This is 2020 now. We're now moving on this, but the info session people sent us this link. This is the link that they wanted us to read. This is right at the very bottom. So they obviously want us all to read this. So create a low volume car, which would necessarily be expensive. Use that money to develop medium volume car at lower price. Use that money to create an affordable high volume car. So you see how the steps, he's sort of built the steps in place, and we're watching this play out right now. Right? We're watching this now. This is 4 years ago. Folks in business, like business isn't just like, what do we do tomorrow? What do we do, you know, this week? It's when you're working, the higher up you work in the executive levels, they're not thinking about just what tomorrow's going to bring or next week's going to bring. They're thinking long term. They have, management for that to worry about what they're doing at, at dealership level, at production level. That's something that they're working on every day, and they have people for that. But when you're the level of Elon Musk, you're thinking, you're doing 10-year plans, you're doing, 5-year plans, you're thinking that far down the line. That's important for new car companies to do, or considering, says right here, as of 2016, the number of American car companies right here that haven't gone bankrupt is a total of 2, Ford and Tesla. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If Tesla was going to do any takeover of any company or work with any company partnering wise, I think it would be Ford. Ford's already in bed with Volkswagen, but we'll see. There's a bit of a synergy going on between all of them. So the reason why I had to start off with step 1 is that I look at this. Is all I could afford to do with PayPal. He used his own money. I thought our chances of success were so low that I didn't want to risk anyone's funds in the beginning but my own. So he took PayPal's money, reinvested it into Tesla. This is what we're watching here. This is the beginning of PayPal. So he sunk it all in there. So could have easily went the other way. A few things had to go right, and a few things definitely went wrong. So this is where they're at right now. So we're not going to get into any of this stuff with the info session, okay, at all. Again, it's starting in 13 minutes. The invite hasn't started yet, but we'll be starting soon. So the other thing is that that they understand all this right here. This is a really important piece right here. They understood their competition. Low volume car means just smaller, simpler factory, albeit most things done by hand. Elon Musk started off wanting everything automated, wanted everything robotically automated, and that was just not possible at that time. No way possible. Robotics weren't there. Well, they were there, but they're not the level he wanted them at. Most robotics are sort of, they work in tandem with the the manufacturing hands-on. So this was only so much that they could do at the time. So yeah, but they didn't want to be a boutique manufacturer. Tesla didn't want to be a boutique manufacturer. They knew they were starting out there, but they didn't want to stay there, right? 10-year plan, create a low volume car, which would necessarily be expensive. Exactly. So that was the Type S. So no one was going to pay 100K for an electric Honda Civic, no matter how cool it looked. Yeah, of course not. Well, first of all, anybody that's in the car business right now that is in deep denial of where the electric car market is or will be in the next 5 to 10 years. If you deny the fact that they're going to be, um, it's going to be the main thing. It's going to be what most people are going to be driving, especially for commuting cars. There's no reason why commuting cars have to have gas. Yeah, I understand like transport trucks and those commercial vehicles that will come in time, but the first step is going to be in commuter vehicles and things like that. So, and Tesla is no different from any other car manufacturer that is subject to the ebbs and flows of the economy. Right now, you're seeing their stock way, way, way up, but we also saw something today which was interesting. Okay, so when we Google Tesla stock, what did Elon Musk say today? Well, that's what it is right now. 588. That's split four ways. It's like $2,500. So what did he say? He said something today about why try not to everybody cut your costs, and he's talking about this to his employees, or his employees to pinch pennies. So this is what buoy surging shares. So he wants everybody to know that right now his stock is hot, or the stock is hot, but it could come down anytime, because right now there's sort of this romance era where we're watching uh, Tesla sort of in a boom in their market, but you know they're becoming a little bit profitable, but he'll even say that there's only 1% profitability, right? So it's really, look at, very low, 1% for the past year. So this is a very low profitability for their company right now. But it's going to get better, and then as any startup company has it, they're going to continue to get bigger and more profitable. But the concern is that when big investors and big companies like that look into acquiring shares and acquiring companies like Tesla to purchase, they look at all these things. So they look at profitability, they look at margins, they look at at the end of the day how much money is made. So oftentimes this market here does not reflect their profitability. Sometimes it does, which is funny. Just shows you how funny the markets are, because there's lots of companies that have huge profitability and have huge potential who are just sort of floundering in the wind right now. It makes no sense, right? So Oracle being one of them. The Oracle has every metric that Oracle should grow. Every metric. They have a growing market share. They're hosting some of the biggest companies out there. They're hosting TikTok. They're hosting Zoom, right? Why they're still floundering in this sort of high 50s market? Understand, right? So yeah, $59, right? So we'll see. I think that just shows you how funny the markets are. So we're about to start this Teams here. Hello and welcome to the event. We'll be starting shortly at 12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining. We're gonna join. We're gonna join. So if anybody has a question, please ask in the chat here, and I will add it to the questions here and see if we can get questions. So I'll put it into my questions. Right? I can even maybe put your name in. Right? What do you think of that? That's pretty cool. So if we're gonna start in a few minutes here, but let's go back to another thing here. I'll listen to a little bit of music. Let's have a little bit of music in the background, shall we? Have a little bit of tunage. Okay. Now this is copyright-free music. Don't be shutting this down there. YouTube/Twitch. This is copyright free, okay? It says right on here. Look at Synth Arcade. What? Oops. So the info session is going to start in about 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, please put it in the chat, and I will relay it to the info session chat box, and we'll go from there. If anybody wants to go onto the info session chat directly, feel free to do so. I don't own it. No, we don't own it. We're just happy to be supporting the channel and happy to supporting the their growing market and their growing business, and their mission is very important to us. So. Couple of things. Turn soon. So one of the things that cards. We're going to go in here. We're going to have all these windows up here that we need. So one of the things that they are dead set about is this right here. This is their mission statement. If you ever want a job at Tesla, this is what they'll all tell you this, is that Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's their overall goal. That's sort of the angle that you kind of the place where you fit. You fit into that, that larger story and that larger mission statement that they're going for. It's not necessarily, build a bunch of electric cars. It's a bigger picture, and that's important to them. And that's the language that's used. I messaged one of the general managers, and that was part of their little write-up that they put in there. They said, "Oh, it's so wonderful to see all these, people wanting to change the world's energy and da 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 da." So it's a big thing for them, is that this mission statement that you're seeing right here, right? So that's a big thing for them. And a lot of people don't realize this was founded in 2003. And but this was before the current sort of Tesla image is started. Okay, so featured live event hasn't started yet. So, like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. How much we could check time? We don't have time to build an electric car, but all right. Supposed to start right now. Noon Eastern Standard Time. Oh, here we go.
2, 1. All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today for our virtual informational event focused on our service jobs and that are located within our service centers. So thanks for being here. Let's give it a couple seconds to let everybody join and settle in. I can see we have attendees shooting in, so let's give it just another 30 or so seconds. All right, okay, so I can see people are still rolling in, so we'll go ahead and get started. So hi again, I'm Ashley. So I am a senior recruiter here at Tesla. I recruit for service, sales, delivery, I've done all of it. So very excited to bring to you guys the information about our service roles that we offer here at Tesla. I just wanted to start off by, thanking everyone for taking the time to join us this afternoon. My colleagues and I revised the guest list earlier and noticed that today we have people joining us from really all across North America, which is very exciting. It's great to have such a multifaceted group of people as we present today. So what we hope you get out of today. We hope that you guys enjoy the event, learn something new, maybe walk away feeling inspired. Usually when we talk about Tesla, that's a hard thing to do, is to be inspired. We're going to focus on Tesla, and who knows, like I said, it might be your choice employer, right, as we go through.
Come on.
But as we continue to be one of the global electric vehicles and technology, this will give you guys an even more glimpse into the world of what we do, and specifically service, like we talked about. So before getting started, just want to extend a very friendly reminder to make sure that everybody's off camera and keep yourselves on mute during the presentation. So working alongside me today, I do have some colleagues and fellow recruiters. So I've got Julia, Jody, Sandra, and Rachel. They're going to be interacting with you directly in the chat box. So we hope to make this event very interactive. So in this chat box, you can feel free to post answers to our questions throughout the event, share any thoughts that you might have on the content, and most importantly, to ask your questions. So that's really what the chat box is for. So Jody and Julia will be monitoring the chat, Rachel as well, and we'll do our best to answer your questions during the Q&A portion of this presentation. Finally, we have a couple of very special guests for today's presentation. We've got Alan Wolmer on the call, who is a service leader, is a store or service manager in our Milford, Connecticut location. Also Matthew Pepe, another service leader that we have as well. So these are going to be, these guys are going to be joining us today to tell us about kind of their story about how they got to Tesla. What were they doing before Tesla, right? Because I think everybody kind of wants to know that, and what brought them to Tesla, what they've been doing since they got here, just really their journey, and being able to provide us some insight into what the realities are of a service center. And then at the end, when we have our Q&A session, they will be helping us answer those questions that you guys have. So to kick things off, let's start with a short video.
I enjoy videos. I like videos. Oh.
I might have to give it a second. Sometimes technical difficulties.
Oh. Technical difficulty. I just want to double check. Can you hear me? Good. I don't think she can hear me. I don't think my mic's connected. Good. I was worried. Look. You guys can't see the top of this, but I've trimmed the video so you don't see the upper bars. She had them on. I mean the music. Solar roofs. Power wall. I could work there. Gigafactory. Horses. Tesla, we do horses too. And headlights. Semis. That car's so fast. Roadster's so fast. There's all three people that make the car. Okay. Oh, this is the race against the jet. Oh, this is the... What up? It's a good video.
All right. So, love that video. I've definitely seen it a couple times. But I think it does a great job defining Tesla, the world, and a lot of the company's accomplishments and what it can offer to not only consumers, but employees. So this brings me to my first question. So in that box, remember, that's where we're going to communicate. What word comes to mind when you think about Tesla? So feel free to enter that word into the chat box now.
Chat box. Where's the chat box? Chat box? Is it ask a question?
Awesome. So, you know, I see a lot of the same words that we always kind of say, like sustainable, innovative, futuristic, modern, all of those exciting, great answers. And of course, I agree with all of them. Tesla is the future, but also very much the present. So as you may have seen in the video, we have a lot of exciting things going on. We know that this is important when selecting an employer. We know that many of you here today are passionate about the work that you do each and every day. And if you're not, we know you want to be, and we love to help you get there. So imagine doing work that you're passionate about for a company focused on doing good. So that brings me to our mission statement, which is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. So this brings me to my second question to all of you. How many electric vehicles do you anticipate to be on the road by 2030? So less than 10 years away.
There it is.
Please share your answer in the chat box. Awesome. So according to the International Energy Agency, and I saw we have a lot of different answers, the projection of the number of electric cars on the road by 2030 can be as high as 220 million. 220 million, that's a lot of cars. Tesla is working hard to be a major contributor to that movement. So for example, you know, we Tesla just delivered the greatest number of vehicles in history this past quarter, so it'll be Q3 for us, which was just over 139,000 cars. Remarkable, especially kind of thinking about, where we came from and kind of where we are now. So another fun fact to kind of go along with the success and the growth that's going on with the company, Walmart just announced that they tripled their order of our semi trucks that we have rolling out, which is now a total of 130, which is super, super just amazing as we continue to branch out. We also have a couple other really cool things that are going on with us as a company. We have 3 brand new factories. So we have one in Shanghai, China. If you guys didn't know that, but that was completed in 2019. So now that is one of our biggest, markets when it comes to, especially with the Model 3 rolling out there. We also have 2 other factories being built as we speak. So we have one in Berlin, Germany, and then one in Austin, Texas. So you can see that Tesla's really kind of expanding the footprint of the EV market and really reaching more and more.
Tesla was approved in Germany for their paint shop, but they were not approved to cut down the trees.
But there's also a lot of other initiatives.
There's still some roadblocks there.
Electric vehicles. So many of you might be aware of this one, but in the state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom announced that California will actually be phasing out gasoline-powered cars by 2035. So you can imagine the increase in production from Tesla over the near future, which is very exciting. So moving on, as advertised, this informational session will be more focused on our service roles and our service sectors. The 4 that we will be focusing on, so the 4 roles, are service technicians, service advisors, vehicle readiness specialists, and then our mobile team. So I'll kind of tell you guys a little bit about each. So service technician, this is probably one of they all are kind of backbones. They'll have to work really well together, but service technicians are full service, fulfill service orders on our Tesla vehicle lineup. So think about, they are the people that they really are the backbone, let's just be honest. They're the ones that are fixing or servicing or maintenance, anything that has to do with the car. That's the service technician that's their job. Service advisors, so that's someone that identifies the need and the issue of the repair and then acts as the link between the customer and the service technician. So basically, they're very customer facing. They have a lot of interaction, do a lot of it with their customers face to face, via email, phone, making sure that they are servicing that customer, white glove service, I should say, and making sure that they are understanding exactly what the need is for the customer and communicating that with the service technician as well. Another role that we have, the vehicle readiness specialist. Basically, they repair vehicles for customers after their vehicles in service. So, you bring your car in, it gets serviced. We want to make sure that the customer picks up their car looking spectacular. So that's what the VRS, or the vehicle readiness specialist, is really part of their role is making sure those cars are ready to go. And then we have a really, really cool team, which is our mobile service team. So literally think about exactly what I just said, mobile. So they actually are out there in the markets helping customers that don't necessarily have to go all the way to a service center.
That's big.
So basically, this mobile team is very specific to Tesla. So we aim to provide a white glove service again to these customers. Mobile teams go out to their place of employment. They go out to their homes for service repairs. So you can imagine like the convenience that provides for customers. And that can be.
This is a program that's also done by a new car company called NIO out of China, and they call it BAS. Big thing. Or is it BAS? It's BAS. I think it's BAS. Look it up.
Because of the times, right, and kind of the way that we're living. So those are the 4 roles we're going to be talking about that are exclusive to service. So now I'd like to move on and introduce our first guest speaker. So like I mentioned earlier, Alan is one of our service managers out of our Milford, Connecticut location. So yes, here's Alan Woolmer. He's going to share with you, like I said, his Tesla journey and what it's to be here and all the good stuff. So Alan, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, everybody, for attending. Good afternoon to everyone. Ashley said, "Hey, can you fill 10 minutes?" And I realized I'm 58. We may be here all afternoon if you want to hear the whole story of how I got to this point. But I did condense the best I could. You know, so many, I do remember when I started off and left school, and my plan was to always have a highly structured and successful career. And like most laid out plans, that didn't really come to fruition until some years ago. But I do feel that I have success purely because I'm wearing this shirt. That's success for me. So you may have noticed I have a slightly different accent. It's not quite Connecticut. I grew up in London, England. And at an early age, I left high school. I attended community technical school. My goal was to become an engineer. I wasn't quite sure what field of engineering I wanted to be in, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. Like so many of the technicians that I work with, I grew up wanting to fix things and taking apart my toys and hanging out with Dad in the garage and handing him a wrench and handing him the flashlight. And so I was always attracted to fixing stuff. After graduating technical school, I was living just outside of London at this point. I went into the aerospace industry and became a tool maker, making the machines that make the machines for Lucas Aerospace, believe it or not. Those who might be on the line that are in the automotive industry probably shiver when they hear the name Lucas making equipment, but that's where we were. Early 80s, there England fell into a very long economic depression, and we're all laid off. So we're all out there looking for jobs. I took a temporary job with a local car dealership, driving a parts van, which I really enjoyed. And after some time, I moved on to work the parts counter. And then after some more time, I was able to become an assistant parts manager, and I enjoyed that job, working in parts, handling inventory. I moved around a little bit, worked for a bunch of different manufacturers, worked for Peugeot and Renault, bunch of different car manufacturers. And a few years later, a friend of mine, unfortunately, his father passed away and left him 2 small dealerships. So he asked if I would go and help, which I did. So at the ripe old age of 28, I became the general manager of a dealership. It was very, very small. There was only enough room in the
30 years
showroom
ago
for one car. So it wasn't as grand as it sounded. But one of the great parts of that experience was I'd realized I was attracted to cars and fixing cars, and this might be my engineering path. And I stayed in the industry until now, of course. After a little while, unfortunately, that business had to fold. But during my time there, I gained a lot of experience in sales and in finance and in service and in the shop and in parts, and got a really good feel for the whole automotive industry, and just thoroughly enjoyed it. I then moved over to General Motors, where my career started to take a little more structure. I worked in sales for a little bit, but I was still attracted to fixing cars, so I moved back to service. And now we're talking probably around about 1992. And with General Motors, I was working for a very large dealership group in England, who had some outlets in the USA, and my wife and I at that time had always been attracted to the US. So we made a huge decision to sell up and come and move to the United States, and we settled in Connecticut in 1993, working for the same dealership group over here.
Lily's amazing.
I stayed as a service advisor with that company for quite some time. For a short period, I managed the service operation for a Subaru store that they had, and then moved back to General Motors and became the dealership group's service advisor trainer, which is where I really found my groove. It took many years to get to that point, but by the training service advisors, it was around about this time, mid 90s, when General Motors realized that there are human beings driving their products, and we had to treat them nice. So one of my roles was to teach and to support and encourage service advisors on the graces of being a service advisor. I moved around a little bit after that. I went to Lexus, and I stayed with Lexus for 13 years. I was attracted to the product, super dependable product, and at that time it had some cutting edge technology, which I'd always been fascinated with. So around about 2011, within the industry, we started to hear this word Tesla associated with Elon Musk, and I'd been a fan of Elon for quite some time, but we started to hear about Tesla. No one else had heard about it, and I started putting some probes out, and the only jobs available were out in California. Then we got to mid 2012, and I saw that a Tesla service center was opening in my town, right here in Connecticut. So I jumped online, and applied for that job, and then I pestered the vice president of HR for some time. Found actually his email and shot him a few emails. Got interviewed, and thankfully, late 2012.
They don't recommend doing that right now.
That phone call to say, hey,
try to do the process.
And I joined Tesla as a service advisor in Milford, Connecticut. And I tell you, I've spent a few minutes talking now. I could talk for another hour about the journey from that point to here. It's high pace. It's been fun, and it's been 7 years. And I still enjoy driving to work every day as much as I do. In my Tesla, the very first day. A lot of folk, when I also do a lot of interviewing, a lot of recruiting, and something I always ask everybody is why Tesla. So I thought I'd ask myself that question. Why Tesla? It's doing quite well in the automotive industry. Why Tesla? And I was very, very much attracted to. I did a little research and very much attracted to cutting edge technology. The writing is on the wall. Even 7 years ago, we could see that electric cars were going to be ultimately will dominate the automotive industry. And I really wanted to be part of that and part of that future. But after doing a lot of research, I found that I was also ideologically aligned with Tesla's values, and that really was one of the things that attracted me the most. Was that I had an opportunity to join what at that time was a relatively small group of people, just measured as a few thousand at that point. I had the opportunity to join a group of people whose very core value, the reason for coming to work every day, was to actually make a difference, to be able to change the world. I had children at this point, so it really resonated with me that I could be, albeit a small part of shaping their future. So there I was, a Tesla service advisor in Milford, and what a shock, what a difference from the world of dealerships. And I love dealerships. They're great. They do a great job. They take very good care of their customers. But because they're essentially profit driven, it was very different. One of the things that struck me the most was that Tesla was a mission-based company. Nobody was paid a commission. Nobody was there to sell anything. The technicians were not paid flat rate. They were paid hourly. Service advisors didn't have a quota to meet. So well, heck, what do I do? This is a very different world to what I was used to. And I found out very soon that the reason I was there was, and behind everything that Tesla does is essentially quality. We were there to provide a quality experience to the folks who in the earlier days were buying our Teslas. And that continues to be what keeps me driving to work every day, is that our focus is on quality.
The car industry is about to have a reckoning, not just from the fundamentals of how their cars are built and the direction that the whole industry is going for that respect, but their business process. And we're going to do a stream on that very soon about how they do their business, where their business is focused on profits and dealership profits only, and they do not care about the customer, nor do they have any grand mission. So that's a reckoning that's going to happen very soon, and in the car industry, and you watch out. We're going to continue to watch this. So
anybody at Tesla about anything at any time, the vice president, the engineer, another service advisor over in Texas, or somebody up in Canada, it became very apparent that even as a single individual, I could have an impact. And and I continue to work hard and focus on giving the customers a great experience. And then an opportunity opened up after about 18 months in Milford. The manager there transferred out back to another state, and I was able to assume the position of service manager, which is a very privileged role within Tesla. I don't really like the word manager. I prefer the word leader or team member.
See?
I spend every day supporting and helping a very, very talented group of people.
I mentioned this in a stream that is no longer on air, though.
Service advisors.
You don't manage people, you lead people. You manage your checkbook, you manage your finances, you manage other things. You manage your food intake, you know, what you eat. You don't manage people, you lead people.
But about 60% of what I do is help develop people. And that's where I really enjoy the job that I'm doing now. Most of my focus is on my team and their careers, and helping and supporting them to move forward in their careers. We have some tremendous programs at Tesla. We have a program called Charge Your Career, where a technician, a service advisor, a parts inventory specialist, anybody within the service organization can actually plot out their own career. They take charge of their career. And my role is to support them in that, provide them with the resources, and to make sure that they are moving forward and they are growing in their career. That is the primary role of a service manager or of anybody in leadership at Tesla, is to make sure that everyone on their team is growing and moving forward in their career. And we make sure that we are presenting and exposing our teams to all the opportunities that Tesla make available to them. Training is something I enjoyed from the very beginning. As I mentioned, I started as a trainer, and at Tesla, it's almost easy being a service manager because there are so many resources available to us to help our teams train and learn. There is an immense amount of technical training for our technicians, and I have some technicians that have been on my teams for the whole 7 years, and they are still attending courses on a weekly basis, mostly online courses. We did have instructor-led courses until the current environmental situation that prevents us from traveling, but we do have instructor-led courses that are held virtually. At least once a week we have those. And like I said, there's a whole plethora of technical courses for our technicians to move through the different levels of technicians. So I think, and I'll wrap up here. I don't know if I'm talking too long, Ashley, because I could ramble all day. I just love what I do. But I think a lot of folks say, what's the hardest thing at Tesla? I think one of the hardest thing is to not succeed at Tesla. There is so much support and learning and knowledge to be gained that it's tough not to succeed if that's what you want to do. It's a great opportunity for technicians, service advisors, anybody from any field. We welcome and we encourage professional diversity at Tesla. We look for folks who not. I've talked a lot about automotive here. It just happens to be my background. That's not the background of everybody at our center. We have folks from all sorts of different industries, and we welcome and we look for that. We look to bring in that diversity of knowledge, of skill, of thought, of opinion, and of innovation. So I think I can wrap up round about there, Ashley, unless you want to push me a little bit further. But that's kind of my journey so far. And it really feels like it only just started, to be honest.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you, Alan, so much for sharing all of that, especially for somebody that's been here for that long. I think that's pretty remarkable. And you've seen a lot of changes and growth. And, no one can really, like being here for 7 years, like no one can dispute that, right? And seeing all the things that Tesla's been doing and has, I don't know, like what we're going to be doing. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. It's really interesting. And I'd love to move on to Matthew. Yeah, let's get Matthew on. And Matthew is a service supervisor for one of our newest locations out in Long Island, New York, in Smithtown. So Matthew, yes, please take it away.
Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Tesla. Again, my name is Matt. I'm out in Smithtown. That's in New York, Long Island to be more specific. This is my second location that I'm working at. I started off at the Syosset location. I've been with Tesla just about 3 years now, just rounded that mark, and I'm looking forward to many more. So kind of to talk about my journey and how I got to Tesla, going way back when, coming out of high school and everyone asking that question, what do you want to do? I think a lot of people scratch their head and say, oh, I have no idea what I want to do. I knew what I loved to do, and that was cars. I loved tinkering. I loved fixing cars. I liked understanding why things were broken and fixing them. So I quickly jumped into any kind of automotive job I could find, which landed me at some dealerships similar to Alan. I was at GM for a little bit while I was attending college. And at college, I went to a local college out here in New York for automotive business management. And I was just continuing to look to see what's the newest and coolest thing that I can learn and play with and fix. And again, I had my goal. I just don't know where it was going to take me. And one day, a Tesla recruiter was walking through the hallways at my college, and I sprinted over to him and I asked him, how do I get into this? I've never touched a battery. I've never touched electricity. I've been working on gas engines, things of that nature. And he simply just said, just apply. And so that's what I did. Luckily, 3 months later, I got the opportunity to start at the Syosset location, which is right by me in my hometown. And started off as a lower level technician. Spent the first 3 months really just learning the product. I mean, I went from, I was a fairly decent technician over at GM doing, basic maintenance to even light diagnosis. And I came into Tesla and I looked into some of my colleagues and I said, how do I open the hood on this thing? I have no idea. So it was definitely a learning curve. And it just goes to show that you don't need specific experience to do these jobs. You just need the willingness to learn. Again, that 3 months, it was kind of a culture shock and just figuring out how Tesla works, how the products work, and it was the coolest thing that I tell everyone, all my friends and everything that are interested in automotive. The amount I learned in such a short time is really incredible. I went from doing routine maintenance on the cars, making the mistakes that everybody's going to make at the beginning to moving my way up to a lead diagnostic role. I would bug my managers, hey, can I fix this broken car? I can't make it that much worse, right? And eventually they grew the confidence in me and let me start looking at some crazy in-depth diagnoses. And, I worked with some great people, our field technical specialists, our remote technical specialists, and they really trained me up alongside the managers that were there at the time. Again, just like Alan said, driving to work every day, there was always a new problem. There was something new to fix, new firmware, somewhere along those lines. And it was the coolest thing. So just going through the cars every day, I even got to rotate into customer facing roles where I was something called a drive technician. And I would intake customers, fix concerns on the fly, talk to them if they got escalated, got upset, put it into layman's terms. Not everybody knows tech jargon and things of that nature. Kind of break it down to them in a way they can understand and make them feel more comfortable. Because again, it's a product that they're probably not even, if I wasn't fully aware of it, they're not fully aware of it. So I got really strong at my customer facing skills. That was something that I really pride myself on because that was something I never did before. And again, that opportunity came straight from Tesla and nowhere else. So really cool. Rotated through that role and even into a role called VSC, which is Virtual Service Center, which I got the time to remotely diagnose and prepare appointments before they even got to the service center. Something really cool about our cars is that we can look and see what's wrong with your car before you even get there. Hopefully one day we can fix it before you even coming into the service center, but one thing at a time. But I got to spend a lot of time doing that and met a lot of amazing people to teach me how those programs worked and things like that. Again, I've never seen anything like it before, and now it's 1, 2, 3 in my head, which is really cool. And then from there, I started moving my role, there was a lot of paths I could have taken. That's really cool. What Tesla does is they give you a lot of opportunities to branch out. As Ashley was saying, you could go to mobile, you can go into a training aspect, you go to a management role. The management role sounded really cool to me. As I was working through a technician, I didn't want to lose that whole side of it. So there was a role for service supervisor, and I worked closely with my management team, asking how can I get there, what do I need to do, and it was really something that Alan was saying before, replicating yourself and growing others. So I took what I had learned with diagnosing cars, fixing them, customer facing, and I started teaching that to my colleagues, newer technicians that were coming into the shop. How can I get them to where they need to be at the role that I was just at? And it kind of just morphed itself into the supervisor role, which I was so luckily chosen for at Syosset. So I spent a lot of time in Syosset as a supervisor, growing, teaching, and really making sure the techs have what they need to fix these cars. Customers don't like to be in service. I think that's true everywhere. They want to be in their brand new car. They want to be driving it. They don't want to hear that it's broken. So what we do here, we make the experience as pleasant as possible. We love to see them, but we really don't want to. So that's what I focused on. I focused on making sure that our efficiency was there, making sure the cars were picked up in timely manner, they were clean, and they were really good to go, and they weren't going to come back for the same reason, right? We want to make sure they're actually fixed. And then I got the opportunity after at Syosset, we were kind of getting a little overwhelmed at our service center. We were holding down the volume for all of Long Island, and talks of new service centers opening. And I was fortunate enough to be.
This is important information if you're just tuning in to watch. You're looking at a career in Tesla in service department, or even sometimes sales, you get an understanding of how they do their business and where they focus on. So
building a team, cultivating a team, and really running the culture here, and making sure that everyone that comes here is just as happy as I am when I'm driving into work. So yeah, that's really my journey. I don't know, it was a little bit shorter than Alan's, but yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, please send them over.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing as well. I think it's really awesome that both of you guys really had, started out in different roles, and how you can really talk about that and how you've grown into where you are now. And I think that's super important for everybody on this call to hear, is that journey, and how it's definitely, like you said before, there's a lot of different paths you can take at Tesla. A lot of different, you're exposed, especially when you start in service, like at Smithtown or Milford, different places have sales teams, and there's delivery. There's just so many different things that you can be exposed to and kind of figure out where
I came from working in the luxury car industry, and there's a lot of elements to deliver a car, to go from the order process, bring it in, pre-delivery inspection. You got to get it ready for the customer. A lot of times when you get cars from manufacturers, like the floor mats are just sort of chucked in the trunk, or things aren't quite ready. There's still plastic on the seats. So you have to get that ready. There's a lot of pieces to go into delivering a car, especially in the luxury car market, like a Tesla.
So let's talk about our
first. There's a lot of pieces.
Question here.
Anybody have any questions?
So let's talk about when it comes to growth, right? So one of the questions is Tesla growing huge? Are we expecting more roles in the near future? So I think they mean like quantity. They probably mean like different ones. But how do you guys see the growth of where you're at? Like maybe in your markets, right? Maybe it's Connecticut, New York. Like what does that look like for you guys?
I'll jump in first, and I know Matt will have something to say. Growth at the moment is sometimes working at Tesla is like being on an out of control freight train, and we're 10 feet ahead laying the tracks. Growth is enormous at the moment. There's a lot of our capital expenditure this year and into next year is going to be focused on opening more service centers, and expanding our mobile service operation. So that means more technicians. That means more virtual service advisors, virtual service technicians. That means more parts and inventory controllers. There's so as far as additional roles. It's funny that who would ever know that there would be such a thing as a virtual technician before, or a mobile technician. Who knew that? The future will probably see these new roles coming out. Right now, it's funny. Although we wear badges and we have different roles, everybody is encouraged and learns how to do everything. We do have our core focuses, but the key at Tesla is always to, it's all about collaboration. And the more you collaborate with the team, the more you learn about what the other members of your team do. And if you can do part of that, it just opens up that opportunity for you. Yeah, short answer. Oh yeah, there's plenty of new service centers opening up across North America in the coming 12 months and in the future, of course. And the mobile operation is expanding rapidly. So, but Matt, you probably have more on that, especially on the virtual side.
Yeah, sure. I think you hit the nail right on the head. We're constantly growing. Ashley mentioned that we're continuing production and trying to even double production. So that means there's just more cars on the road and there's just more cars to fix, right? So as far as service, we need all aspects: advisor, technician, virtual service, mobile service. They're ever growing, and from my time starting 3 years ago to now, we've probably tripled growth as far as in just my region alone, and that goes throughout North America. So yeah, to answer that question, 100%, we're growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah, so I was gonna say too. That's the cool part about this call is there's people from all over on this call, like we talked about before. So yeah, we're not talking about this exclusively Connecticut and just New York. I mean, we're growing everywhere. So always being on top of the career site, right? Tesla.com/careers, checking out what's going on there. LinkedIn, I think that's a huge place. We're always announcing events like this, jobs, local stuff in your own market, but definitely, there's always something around the corner for us. So that could be, like we said, new stores, new, just hiring more people for the ones that are existing, or just always something going on. And we're definitely on that trajectory. Some really great questions coming through. So one of the ones I wanted to kind of ask next, kind of to talk about, kind of in a sort of an order maybe. We talked about 4 roles, right? When I first got on the call about service advisors, technicians, things like that. So the audience wants to know, the attendees, what would you guys say is some soft skills and maybe technical skills that people, need to have? And maybe it's academic background, like you don't have to necessarily have a major in college, or it could be technical schools, right? Like, we have the STAR program and things like that too. But what we kind of want to know, the audience wants to know, is what kind of soft skills would you guys say that people really need to have to be successful at Tesla, and maybe technical skills as well? And that might be different per position, but yeah, I guess that's kind of the technical and soft.
Sure, I can take this one, Alan, if you want. I think computer skills is something that really comes to mind. We're a tech company, right? So we're very tech based. A lot of our service documentation, software, everything's on the computer. So having a leg up with computer skills and being efficient on the computer really goes a long way. That being said, just like anywhere else, technical skills and any other soft skills, customer facing skills, things of that nature all come into play. As far as technical ability and whatnot, I think just having an understanding of how to use tools and things of that nature coming in gives you a leg up. Ashley mentioned the STAR program where you actually get geared towards Tesla. And me being an example, I didn't have any leg up with Tesla specifically before coming in. It was just having a basic understanding of cars, suspensions, just understanding a nut and a bolt. A lot of people never picked one up or messed around with one. Just understanding that can go a long way, and that can really cut down on your time, especially in a repair or anything of that nature. And yeah, I don't know if Alan, you want to add anything to that?
Matt's a technical aptitude is definitely an advantage, but it doesn't have to be automotive. On the softer side, what we look for, I could give you a bunch of words, list you a whole bunch of words, but we're looking for the 2 key things that I'm always looking for when I'm interviewing interviewing is learning agility. We're looking for folks, technical definitely, but a learning agility, the ability to learn, and the willingness and the enthusiasm to learn is probably in the top 2 or 3 things that we look for at Tesla. And also adaptability. Matt touched on it, how we do lots of different roles. A service advisor at Tesla is very different to a service advisor out in the traditional automotive world, in that the service advisor often is providing technical support to the customers, sometimes over the phone, sometimes via the app, sometimes remotely. We'll ask our service advisors to take part in some of the pre-diagnostics before a car comes in. So, but at the same time, our parts advisors may also do the same thing. A technician, as Matt pointed out, will also interface with the customer to get direct information from the customer. So adaptability is probably, so learning agility and adaptability are the key elements I look for. We look for innovation. We look for drive, not just hard work, but the we look for folks to be doing the right thing even when no one's watching. We look for independence, reliability, and dependability on some of those skills, and a high degree of collaboration as well. So those are things we look for on the soft skills. Yeah, certainly we want folks to be able to interact with people, and to have a certain level of to be able to articulate complex issues and articulate those in a way that somebody who's non-technical can understand. So that's similar to a traditional service advisor role. But yeah, it's good if you've got a little bit of tech ability behind you. The rest we can teach, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And thank you for kind of touching on all of those aspects, because there's a lot of the things you talked about are going hand in hand in every role that we hire at Tesla, about being adaptable and being and learning agility and doing the right thing when no one's watching and all that. That's just Tesla across the board. And that kind of goes into the next couple questions I was going to ask you guys. What would you say the culture is like at Tesla, number one? And then the other part to this question is, how is the work-life balance? How does that work for you at Tesla? How do you make that work for you in your outside world?
I'll jump in. The culture is what keeps you coming every day. The culture it's a really cool, it's very progressive culture. It's very open and very transparent. So one of the things we learn and we teach is to be able to give feedback to each other, and how to receive feedback from each other. Through that, it's a highly collaborative environment. It's very fast paced. We do everything much quicker than we've ever done anything before. It's a very high demanding. When it comes to performance, we look for high performance. We're constantly looking at hitting deadlines, but we achieve those with a high degree of collaboration. So the culture is, you'll find that if you make a mistake at Tesla, 3 people come up to you and say, how can I help you? It's very collaborative and a very supportive situation. You look at a technician, for example. When a technician learns how to do something new or finds a slightly quicker way of doing something, the first thing that technician will do is go and tell everybody else, which is the opposite to a dealership environment, maybe, where you want to keep those tricks and secrets to yourself, because that's how you make your money. So it's a very inclusive culture. I said before, we look for diversity. We celebrate diversity. We encourage diversity, because only that way can we become better. But Matt, how do you feel on culture and?
No, yeah, that's perfect. It's definitely not an environment where, me coming from the dealership world, where you're trying to sell the whole world to the customer to make profit. We're here to, why is the customer here? How do we keep them out of here? And how do we make them happy? We're really looking for customer satisfaction. That's our biggest driver. And if there's someone that's not feeling up to it or not happy about something, we talk about it. What's not working. We're big on feedback here, positive and negative. It's always a learning opportunity, and no one's ever wrong for asking a question like that. So, to touch on the work-life balance, and this may vary from region to region, and I can just go based off of what I know. Flexibility is key at Tesla. We do what we need to keep the business running. We're in the service industry, so you can expect to work weekends and things of that nature. But what Tesla's really cool about is that they understand that you have a life outside of work, and there's a lot of perks and benefits to working for Tesla that I'm sure Ashley can get into also. But it's really a great place to work, and just like Alan said, and I said already, I love it every day, and there's a reason for that.
And I'd add, because we're a mission-based company, and because at the core of what we're doing is trying to make a difference in the world, it's so much easier to bring your work home because it's work that you're proud of. I know Matt's nodding his head because I know Matt. We all know each other's families. We'll have our kids in the store, and what kid doesn't want to play in a Model X, right? It's an exciting place to be. So whilst we do work extremely hard and we work long sometimes, it's okay. We bring our work to our family and we bring our family to work. So I've had no trouble with the balance.
Great, thank you guys. Yeah, I agree. Like even on our, in my team and what we do, it's mission driven. I think that's the best way to kind of describe, what we're doing, right? And that's what makes us come here every day. And like you said, I like how you guys both said, like enjoying your drive to work, because it's very true. It's you're trying to make the world a better place. So you understand the flexibility has to go into that. But it's fun and everybody's doing it together, right? So going into some other questions people are asking about, like technicians, and Matt, you definitely touched on this a little bit. What would you guys say is some pieces, like some really great pieces of advice for people that maybe are interested in being a tech, but they never really have been one, and in a general motor audience when it comes to working in the automotive industry, I should say. But if someone wants to get started as a service tech, like what do they need to do to break in the door?
Yeah, I can take this one on. I think the biggest thing that worked for me was just tinkering at home. If you have a car to work on, don't be afraid to work on it. If you break something, it's just another opportunity to fix it. Getting yourself around tools, getting yourself around people that know how to work with tools is huge, and don't be afraid of it. I have a lot of newer technicians that come through the door, and they're just afraid of that larger job or that complicated job. And whereas for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm excited. It's something new I can learn. Come with that attitude. It's okay to break something or make a mistake once in a while, as long as you learn from it. I think that's the best quality that a technician can have, is just give me anything you have and let me try and figure it out, because nothing's ever too complicated. There's always the next step you can go to, the next person that could help you, and you may even learn something that no one else has learned. In my time here, we have something called toolbox sessions, and we go off of articles, which we use to help other technicians. So if you find something that's broken, we write about it, see what fixed it, and then we publish it so other people can see. And in my time here as a technician, I got to do things like that, and I've helped so many people around the globe in fixing a Tesla, whereas I never would have thought that would have ever happened. So it was a really cool thing to do. I hope that answers that question, and I don't know if Alan, you want to add something to that.
I think you got it right there, Matt. Some of our greatest technicians now were not technicians when they joined us. We had an amazing technician that actually fixed skateboards, the trucks and the wheels on a skateboard, and also did work on jet skis. We have another technician that came from the military. He was in the signal he handled signaling, and that kind of stuff. So, and the key again, I go back to the same thing again, is learning agility. Is that ears open and the willingness, bring humility, and know what you don't know. The most important thing is to know what you don't know rather than know what you do know, because we can feel that.
So what about training? Let's talk about that. Is a training program couple weeks, hands-on training module? How does that look? And then people are wanting to know, do they need to bring their own tools to work? Tesla provide all of those? How does that work?
I could jump in. So it varies from store to store as far as tooling. I'll start there. We're moving towards providing tooling. Believe it or not, we don't need a vast toolbox to fix these cars. It's pretty common hand tools. It's nothing crazy. Any specialty tools that we have, Tesla provides. I do have some technicians that have their favorite tool that they work quicker with, and I'm all for that. I wouldn't expect to need to, I know techs in the dealership world that spend $20,000 in a toolbox and tools. You don't need that here. So I'll wipe that off the cart. As far as training, we do a lot of in-house training. Something I do is we set you up with a mentor, someone that's been doing this for a while. We'll never throw you into the fire without the things you need. Always someone there to ask questions to, and if they don't have the answer, they're going to find out the answer. We have regional training with actually jobs that are just meant for training technicians that get sent out periodically through a rotation. And then I think Alan mentioned this earlier. There's plenty of stuff on the web that we provide. You can go through various modules on every subsystem of the car, and you can learn pretty much everything about the car without even working on them once you're on board, which is really cool. And that's how I got ahead. I took some time after work and I just went through those trainings that weren't even required of me and just went through it. There's so much in theory of operations, and they really get specific on just how things work, and it's a great way to get ahead. Yeah, I don't know, Alan, if anything else you want to add.
No, I think you summed it up. Training is forever. I mean, it's just, there's always training. And there is so much support around that training as well. We afford our teams the time to take on that training, and we encourage it too. We really do encourage it. On the tooling side, that's something we didn't talk about much, is that most of the technicians that are joining us now are also going to be doing a tour on the mobile side as well. Some time ago, we had the two operations were kind of separate, mobile and shop. But more and more often now, like in Connecticut, we merged with mobile at the beginning of this year. So when you're on the mobile duty, you're provided appointments and a route. But the Tesla mobile vans we have are really cool. These really cool vans that are kitted out with all sorts of technology and tools and computer systems in there, everything you possibly need. So yeah, Matt's right. If you've got a favorite screwdriver you like to use, bring it with you, but you don't need them, right?
Great, thank you guys for that. And then we only have a few minutes left. So one of the really exciting questions, I think for all of us to talk about, if we probably could talk about this forever, but what is your personal favorite vehicle in the lineup and why?
Alan, I'll let you go first. I got to think about it.
It's really hard because just when you think you have a favorite, the car evolves into something else. Unlike other car manufacturers where you wait 3 to 4 years for a new model to come out, at Tesla, our car is constantly evolving. So one that left the factory today could be a little bit different from one that left the factory 3 months ago. Of course, I love the P100D Ludicrous Model S. That is just the most exciting car you could ever drive. And it never gets old, believe me. But just more recently, the Model Y has become my kind of, if I'm buying a car tomorrow, I'm probably buying a Model Y because it suits my lifestyle. It's an amazing car. It handles incredibly. It's a high performance car. It's a family car. It's a cool car for a single person. It kind of checks every box. And that's until the new Roadster comes out, of course. But, Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I think the lineup currently, I'm going to have to go with the Model X. I think it's got a real wow factor, especially with those gull wing doors. And even the front doors are powered. I mean, you just walk up to that thing and the doors open for you. People look at you like you're crazy. You could summon the car from where you are when you're coming out of your grocery store. The thing will come and pick you up. I mean, and that goes across all models, not just the Model X. My fan favorite, which I'm waiting for, is that Cybertruck. I can't wait to get my hands on one of them. So I don't know too much of the details about it yet, but it seems very cool.
Check. Oops, I lost audio.
I just have to ask, Matt, did you order a Cybertruck?
I did put a deposit.
Everybody's ordered a Cybertruck.
Patiently waiting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the way you said that, it sounded like you probably did. So I was like, oh, he must have put a deposit down. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing when that truck comes out. It's so
amazing
looking. But well, I wanted to say we'll wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for joining our call today. All of you, all my colleagues helping out, Alan and Matt for being great speakers, really just giving everybody some really important, informative information about the service. We definitely really appreciate that. And I just want to thank all of you attendees for coming, listening to us. Here you can see on the screen, you can use this QR code for the
people still
site,
use those.
where you can scan that. If not, you go to tesla.com/careers. Please look up what's what positions are open in your market. Apply.
Made it at the screen.
Thank you guys so much again, and we will see you soon.
Bye. Bye. Bye, Tesla. Tesla Careers. So, that ends the info section of Tesla Careers. It was exactly 1 hour. I didn't do much talking because I wanted everybody to see what was going on with them and allow them to do the talking because they're the ones who know what's going on. I'm just along for the ride. We don't have anything to do with Tesla. We just support their, where they are in the world and, where they're going to be soon. They're going to be the biggest car company. They're, as far as our most powerful soon, is, brand recognition. There's going to be a long time before they sell the most cars because there are some massive car companies out there that sell way more cars. For example, Tesla's got a long way to go before they're the leading car manufacturer in the world. Just to give you a hint on that. But again, Tesla is not all about cars. They have a global sort of approach to their company. They're not just, as you heard, I think it was Matthew. What it was? No, I forget what it was. The other fellow, the other guy there, he was talking about how Tesla has got a larger global sort of broader spectrum than just car making. So that's kind of the approach that they have. And when you go to for a job, if you have an interview with them or you want to talk about you actually get into that point where you get an interview with them, that's sort of the global look that they have. Is that's what that's the way that you talk. Is the angle that you take. So there we go. They're a different kind of car company. They're a different kind of horse there. So that was fun, and we just want to do that little stream real quick. And I was trying to reach out to some other people that are in the car that I thought they might like to look at this for cars, but that's okay. The car enthusiasts out there's not a lot of them on Twitch. There's quite a bit more car enthusiasts on YouTube, and but Twitch is a little different there. So, we welcome everybody, and we think we're going to be doing a stream on Tesla soon, and not really Tesla, but the sort of the car business, the car market. That's a new thing that we're going to be doing, and we're probably going to be doing that this week. So follow us, like us, do what you got to do, and we're going to keep showing, promoting new businesses, new technologies, and we're going to keep doing things the way that we think they're going to happen in the future. So
We look forward to chatting with everybody soon, and yeah, we'll see you.
Been trying